All righty. Hey, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you guys are in the world. And I'd love to see where you are, by the way. So give us a shout out in the chat. Tell us where you are. Give us a thumbs up. That always helps. And I love seeing you guys tune in from all over the world. So hope you're doing well in the United States here. We're going to be celebrating Thanksgiving next week. It's kind of amazing to me that we're already this far into the year. I mean, it's pretty much holidays from here on out, folks. So it's a good time to photograph. It's a good time to, if you're going to get together with your family, photograph your family. Annie Leibovitz, you probably heard me talking about this. She did a lot of photography with her immediate family. They're perfect subjects because they have to put up with you, as she said. And you take it beyond a snapshot. Take one of your family members outside, like set it up or do Vermeer lighting where, you're sitting like I am with a window facing them and, really put some work into it. And they're perfect portrait subjects. And you can do all kinds of stuff with family, which is great because they will put up with you. Okay, good. So we are, in a minute, we're going to start talking about an aspect of my life that I like to get into a lot, which is creativity. If you have read this book, you know that I put a lot of thought into what is the creative process and helping you boil it down and actually improve your creativity. And we're gonna take one aspect of it. And Parabu from Namaste to you from India, and Tony in Washington, and Kenny in North Carolina. Hello, you guys. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure. Well, let's go ahead and get started here. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Marc Silber. I am an author. And I'm a photographer, and I'm in Carmel, California. That is, if you don't know where that is, we're about 2 hours south of San Francisco on the coast. It's beautiful here. It's phenomenal. This photograph behind me is from that coast called Big Sur, about 20-30 minutes south of me. And, I do want to have some live workshops. So coming up, probably next summer, we'll start scheduling some live workshops. You guys want to travel to Carmel and get some beautiful photographs. Our show today, let's just get that up here. Not that one. Our show today is brought to you by Bay Photo Lab, our friends there. And you can get specials. Here's some special deals, 20% off on fine art canvas wraps. Those are kind of cool. See how it wraps around the edge there? That can be pretty neat. And you can get 15% off on their acrylic prints. Those can be also beautiful. And then 20% off on holiday cards and calendars. That's always a good thing and a good way to get your work out to the world. I recommend it. You get 20% off. And by the way, you kind of need to get going right now on that. It's definitely not too late, but you should get that into the works right now so that you have those available to give to people as gifts. And, no matter what you're celebrating, there's always a new year here. And it's cool because your photographs are going to be on there once a month. So head on over to Bay Photo after the show. You can always get 25% off on your first order. If you've been around me at all, you know that my mantra is get your works printed, put them on the wall, put them in books, put them on calendars, send them out. But whatever you do, get your work out off the digital world and into the real world, like prints. You know what I mean? A print is like a print. It could be in a book. Like I've got lots of prints in this book. In fact, we're going to be talking about this one here in a minute. Whoop. There it is. Okay. All right. And saying hello to some more people who tuned in. Brenda is in Canada, Winnipeg. Awesome. Joe from Louisiana, cool. And Geir in Norway, Masir in Brazil. Thank you guys for joining us. All right, I'm going to talk to you about creativity. You know, behind the lens, what's this all about? You've got cameras, that's a tool. It's a creative tool, but it's still a tool. And who operates that tool is more important than any camera you'll ever pick up. Because if you get that right, it doesn't matter what camera you're using. And I can prove it. I could give a camera to some of my friends like Bob Holmes or Dan Milner and any of these guys. And it could be a throwaway camera. It could be a disposable camera. They're going to come back with great photographs, I guarantee you. If you gave them a disposable camera, you know, you can buy those with 12 or 24 shots that you just, when you're done with it, you mail it in or take it to a drugstore. Out of those 12 or 24 frames is going to be one exceptional photograph, at least one. Guaranteed. The cheapest, crummiest camera in the world, they're going to come away with an exceptional photograph because they know that it doesn't matter what camera you use. It matters how you use it and how you control it, which is your composition, your lighting, your if you're working with people, your rapport with the people. All those things are what really matters. Now, okay, do I just use disposable cameras? Of course not. But the point is, don't get stuck to the camera as the only thing, which is unfortunately a huge focus out there. And step away from that and realize it's you with your creativity, your vision, that will make the difference. And for that reason, I wrote this book. I mean, for many reasons, but I wrote this book because I'm very interested in what can improve creativity, because creativity has to do with, frankly, every part of your life. As a parent, as an educator, as a spouse, husband, wife, friend, whatever, you know, designing your own home. All these things require creativity. So when you improve creativity, you're literally improving everything across your life, including your photography. So we're going to talk about this. I'm going to do a little case study here. I want to talk to you about an artist you may or may not be familiar with. I bet you are to some degree, and that is Salvador Dali. This is probably one of his most famous images or paintings. This is from the Museum of Modern Art collection. By the way, if you can't travel to their exhibit in New York, go to their online gallery. It's MoMA.org, very easy to remember, museumofmodernart.org. And you'll find all sorts of amazing artists in there. And one of them is Salvador Dali. So you've seen this. This is called The Persistence of Memory from 1931. He developed the surrealistic style of painting. I mean, that became his genre that I think he owned pretty much. And a very talented artist. You can see, I mean, that's not easy technically to paint it and have it look almost three-dimensional. Now, where this background is, I believe, is where he lived in Spain, in a very beautiful coastal village called Portligat. And I'm going to show you some of my photographs from visiting his house. Now, these are not polished photographs. Most of them aren't even processed. I'm not trying to display the photographic work itself. I'm just showing you some of the images that I took because I was so struck by what his house was like, what his living environment was like, that I just photographed it. This is one that I've actually used in a couple of books, and I think it bears some explanation because there's a lot going on here you may not immediately see. First of all, when you walk into Salvador Dali's house, the first thing you see in his foyer, the entryway, is a huge polar bear. And I thought I had a photograph of it, but I couldn't find it. polar bear, and he's got beads on, and he's decorating, he's holding something. Every square inch of his house he turned into some sort of an art form. And this was one of his studio spaces. He had a number of different places where he would paint, and this was one of them. And I think if you look at it, you'll see his display of his brushes and whatever's in these bottles, and even the background here. I don't know if can you see this here. I think I need to go to the actual in order for you to see it. Yeah. Can you see my cursor here? Let's see. Apparently, yeah, there it is. Okay, if you notice what this is, these are light bulb wrappers. You know when you buy light bulbs, they come out of a wrapper? And he actually had these in several places. He must have really kind of been fond of the way it looked, because several places in his house he had taken a leg of a chair. In this case, it's, I think, a post, a lamp post or something, and he put these wrappers on it. Kind of cool, kind of amazing. You know, here's this artist. Like, why would he pick out these wrappers? There was something about them that inspired him, or he thought was interesting as an art form, and he put them on the leg of the chair here, or whatever that is. And then even the way this is displayed, it has a sort of a aesthetic quality to it, doesn't it? Can you see that? It's not just a bunch of items just kind of thrown on this little table. There is an art form in how you display anything. You know, how you present your photographs, obviously on the wall. You don't just like tack them up. You know, you place them carefully, and you place them so that people can look at them and they're not competing with each other. Something I don't like to see, and I have seen this, is a wall just bam, 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 photographs on top of each other, and it's like, whoa. Don't do that, because you're not allowing the viewer to just take a linear view of your work, because that's how we look at things. And if you're competing and there's a photograph up here and there's one down here, it's like bad composition. In composition, you don't want your eye competing with a lot of different things. You want to let it focus. So you'll see that as we go through here. I'll just take you on a kind of a virtual tour of his house. So this was one, aspect I thought was pretty cool. What's going on here? He has some cases that he held his paintings in, or drawings, and some kind of sculpture here. I'm not even sure what that is, but there's some sort of sculpture, and then there's, these other containers here. But you get the feeling that everything is sort of accidentally, but on purpose, put together. How about that for a dichotomy? It's accidentally purposeful, I guess would be the way to put it. This is a photograph I used in Create, actually. I turned it from color to black and white. I thought it made it a little more interesting. And this is one of he had many workspaces, and this looks to me where he just did his drawings as opposed to paintings. Now, by the way, I'm going to just bring this up right now. I'll come out of this for a second. I want you guys, and I recommend this in the book, you have to have a studio, your workspace. That studio could be the size of his desk there, the drawing desk. It could be that small. It could be a corner of your apartment. It could be, if you have a whole dedicated room, awesome. Whatever size it is, I want you to put your studio there and think of it as your studio space, because that's your sacred workspace. That's where you go. You can shut the rest of the world out and work on your art, whether it's writing, painting, drawing, photography, whatever it is. Dedicate a space, and I really don't care how small it is. I mean, I fly on airplanes, and that little tray where I put my computer, or I'm writing in a notebook, that at that moment, that's my studio space. But you can do better than that. You can find a little corner like this. See, that's only what, 5, 8, 6 by 6, something like that. Find a little corner space where you could put a desk like he has and hang stuff on the background if you want. Put your photographic gear down there, whatever it is. But make a dedicated space for your photography or whatever art form you're into. Okay? Promise me that. I'm not kidding. That's a simple recommendation that will make a big difference for you. So what else? This is just going through his home studio, different spaces where he worked. So he had a number of different spaces depending on what art form he's working on. I don't know what this is. It's like there's plywood and then he's painting over the plywood. So I don't know where that was going. It looks like it was never finished. I'm not sure. Different spaces again. You can't really see this, and I should have done a better job, but there's a slot in the floor that he could raise and lower his paintings while he was working on them. So they were always at eye level and arm level. So he wasn't having to reach up like this. He would raise and lower. Can you see this? The canvas would go down this slot, and I should have taken a better photograph. There's David with a robe on and some kind of, I don't know what this is, some sort of horn thing and a fencing mask. So he was definitely eclectic. He put things together in different ways. Painting stuff, supplies, lots of brushes over here, and looks like pigment here. This is a paint, I think a self-portrait he did of him painting a model in this space. And one of the photographs, I don't know who this is. This is his storage area. And that's an art form too. There wasn't anything that he just randomly threw together. Look at how nicely it's organized. Everything has a little place. But I get the feeling like even the way those boxes are organized, he considered an art form. And this is interesting. This is a mirror in his bedroom. So he had a mirror arranged that so when the sun came up, it would shine in his face and wake him up. I do just the opposite. I try to block the light out. But he wanted to wake up with that first morning light. And it came out of this window. This is Port Legat. And reflected over here. And then he had it so it would reflect on his face and wake him up. A bird cage. Chairs. Nobody's going to sit in those chairs. He used them as an art form. Kind of cute. I like this space especially. And I don't currently have a space like this, but I have in the past. You just take your wall space and put your photographs on there. Put prints of your photographs. Put the things that's just for you, and maybe you can show it to other people. But I used to, in my darkroom, have a wall like this. And I would pin up my photographs. I'd pin up little things I wanted to remember. Annie Leibovitz definitely does this. If you look at her master class, she has wall space that she's just pinned up photographs like this. This is a cool thing that you can do, and you can do this in your own little studio. You can go to a hardware store, lumber store, and get, and I forget the name of it, maybe Jared, you can, there's a name for it, but it's material that it's designed to push thumbtacks or push pins into. I don't know, I can't remember the name. Jared, maybe you could look at it. But you could put I've done that where I've just put a few sheets on the wall, and then I make my own exhibit. And anytime you publish something, you can put it up like he's done. He's on the cover of a lot. What is it?
I think foam board. If you look that up, I looked that up from Staple. There's like foam board that you can get, and you could put like thumbtacks into that.
There you go. Foam board. And where do they sell it? Like at stationery, like Staples, or?
Yeah, I see a listing on Staples that's
Staples, Home Depot. Anyway, like that. Yeah, put that in your studio, right? So you could have your workspace here like this, and then you could have a you know, a 4x8 sheet or cut it up or however you want to put it. And that's your own personal gallery. It actually is kind of fun. So that's the space that I thought was one of the most interesting. And his use of color in his own environment. Everything, again, not an accident at all. That was fully on purpose. He knew that that red curtain would produce that effect. And those are some of his sculptures there. And then over here on the left, we have a very sort of looks like an old family photograph maybe, and some wheat, in a bottle. Again, and using art in his environment. The grounds, lots of white stucco, beautiful, and these are olive trees growing. This is the outdoor space again. So some sort of tower here, I doubt it serves a functional purpose. Whatever it is, it's got little tiles sticking out of it, and then it's got what looks to me like old pitchforks. This is a pitchfork with a bunch of the tines removed here, and this is other pitchforks. Hey, he's an artist. He just puts stuff together, and this is a sculpture. Pablo Picasso is similar in terms of just turning his entire house into an art form. This is an interesting one. I think this is too enlarged here. Let's pull that back. There we go. Ever seen a door like that? I never have. Look at that door shape. But isn't that cool? So he's like, everything was a little different. Isn't that what creativity is? It's like you're taking your twists, your spin on everything. Nothing was conventional. And this is a very interesting door. Look at that. I've never seen a door like this doorway. It reminds me of New Mexico, Taos. But that's what he did. And he had, he just put this together. This is a wall here. And, what do we have here? We have some kind of clay pots, perhaps. I don't know if these have functional purpose. Maybe there's lights in there. I'm not sure. But they're stuck on the wall here for a reason. Because it's how he wanted it. An old telephone booth. What is that anyway? No, I'm just kidding. Telefono. We used to use those all the time. I mean, hey, hang on. I gotta make a call. You got 10 cents or a quarter or whatever it used to cost. And there's a very few of these left in the world, and he has one right in his own little backyard there. The stonework, obviously, he had something to do with the design of that. That's also very well thought out. And this is the roof of his house looking out to Port Ligat. Again, a beautiful place. And I believe that's the end of it, yeah. So I find this inspiring. One of our students on AYP Plus mentioned Salvador Dali, and I thought, hey, we got to talk about that. So I want you guys, these are the lessons, these are the takeaways, okay, the things I've covered here. Put your studio together. I mean it. I'm not kidding here. Make it your own. Ideally, put up one of those walls. Go get some foam board. Make your own little display. And those can be working prints that you print yourself out of a home printer. They could be a collection or whatever. You could change it up whenever you want. It's fun. It's your like gallery, your own personal gallery. And I guess the biggest takeaway is like the creative process starts right here. It starts with you. It doesn't start with your camera. It doesn't start with your editing software. It starts with you and getting your inspiration. And you can get inspired by anyone, anytime, anywhere. You should work on, always finding that source of inspiration. I mention over and over again that, a key way to get inspired is to go to museums And again, if you can't physically go to museums, go to the MoMA, right? Go to the Rijksmuseum in, help me out, Jared. Copenhagen? I'm sorry.
It's Amsterdam.
Actually. Amsterdam, there we go. Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. Go to your own local museum. Whatever. Try to go to museums physically if you can. If you can't, go virtually. That's fine. Books are the next best thing. You know, ideally you see the art on the wall, but the next best thing is a book, and then the last is digital. But inspire yourself. Always work on improving your inspiration. Okay, I hope this helps. If you guys, we got a couple of minutes here. If you have a question or comment, please put it in the chat right now. We've got a lot of big things. Jared and I were just talking before. We're going to fire up some new interviews. Next week is Thanksgiving. You will see a video from our friend Dan Milner next week. And then the following week, on December 2nd, is that right? Have I got the right?
That's correct.
Following week, in 2 weeks, we're going to have Dan Milner live. And he will talk about anything we want to talk about. If you have something you're especially interested in, maybe you could put a thing in AYP Club.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'll create an event, an AYP Club.
Okay.
And I want people in the event to submit any questions or ideas. Can't promise that we'll get to all of them, but we will look at all of them, and we'll do our best, especially if there's a theme. So be sure to like the ones that you like as well.
Yeah.
Because that will encourage us to use that particular one. So join AYP Club on Facebook if you're not already a member, so that you can help us decide what to ask Dan.
And you know what I'll do is I'll put something on Instagram too, because some people are on Instagram, not on Facebook. A photograph or a video of Dan, and you guys can leave, and I'll just say, leave your questions here. For those who are not on Instagram or Facebook, where could they get them to you?
Leave a comment here on this video right now.
Just
I'll
leave
probably
a
put a
comment.
Post out on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Asking for any ideas, so I'll keep an eye on that place, this place. Those are good places to reach out to us if you're not on any of those other platforms.
If you're on Twitter, you can get to us through, what is it, AYP Club?
Yeah,
Twitter,
I think we're not as active on Twitter, but I do keep an eye on it.
That's, what is the handle that they tweet to?
It is our handle on Twitter.
And you can always email AYP.
At Marc Silber.
Oh, at Marc Silber. Okay, good. Account. And you can always email AYP at silberstudios.com. If you don't have any of those things, just send us an email, okay? And if you don't email, send us a passenger pigeon, carrier pigeon, okay? If you don't have any of those things, I don't know what to say. Walk over or knock on my door.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think you want us to talk about. Okay, well, listen, you guys. I hope you got some takeaways. Put your studio together. Energize your art always. And just be creative. It really comes down to that. Just decide you want to be more creative, and you will be. Okay? Thanks for joining us, you guys. I don't think I pressed the button to remind you to subscribe at the beginning of this. So do that. And enable the bell. Super important, because that way you won't miss any of our new episodes. Like, share, leave your comments, and last but not least, remember to get out and capture your own images of life. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys in America. To anybody who isn't in America, you can still share in our real purpose of this holiday, which is to be thankful. We can all be more thankful. And we'll see you guys soon. Okay? Take care.